paid just 20 to sabotage a date. She hiddenly discovered an incredible love with a millionaire. The cafe buzzed with the warm aroma of freshly brewed coffee. The chatter of happy diners wrapped around Jenna like a comforting embrace. At 26, Jenna logged long hours as a waitress, her mind often preoccupied with her family's struggles. Her father had just endured surgery, leaving him weak and reliant. With her mother working double shifts, Jenna felt the weight of responsibility chip away at her dreams. Every drop of coffee she served echoed her own longing for a life free from constant financial strain. It was on an ordinary afternoon, while juggling tables and orders, that her friend Marie threw out the wild idea. For just $20 you could sabotage a blind date for a millionaire. Jenna was skeptical. Most people with Derek's bank account seemed so disconnected from real life. But with mounting bills and her dad's health in decline, the temptation flickered within her. So she agreed. As Jenna maneuvered around the room, making feigned mistakes with drinks and pretending to trip while balancing plates, her laughter turned into a mask hiding deep-seated insecurities. Yet, beneath the upper-crust facade of Derek's three-piece suit, she caught glimpses of a soul that mirrored her own struggles. Their casual small talk evolved into heartfelt conversations about dreams and aspirations that made Jenna's heart race. Each word broke through her preconceived notions. He was kind, vulnerable, and entirely unlike the wealthy persona she had expected. For a moment the hustle and bustle faded, and Jenna forgot the shadows of her everyday worries. They shared stories over spilled coffee and awkward laughs. She could feel the glimmer of something more. Those moments of genuine connection began to chip at her resolve, and before long, the thrill of sabotage died beneath layers of unexpected chemistry. But life had its complexities. As the flirtation deepened, Marie's words came back, a bitter reminder of their plan. It wasn't long before both Derek and Marie grew wary. Jenna felt the pressure rising, her heart grappling with guilt. Torn between her familial loyalty and burgeoning feelings for Derek, she felt gut-wrenching anxiety creep in as a nearby table's whispers grew louder, dissecting her every move. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Jenna's stomach twisted as her path unfolded. Just as her heart dared to hope, an unexpected incident sent shockwaves through the cafe. Gossip ignited like wildfire. The townspeople's murmurs sliced through the air heavy with judgment. Jenna could feel their eyes boring into her. Eyes that had known her since childhood now filled with questions and distrust. Caught between her yearning for love and doubts rooted deep in her modest upbringing, Jenna faced an impossible choice. Could she find a way to embrace this newfound bond, or would fear drive her back into the shadows of societal expectations? With the weight of their gazes heavy on her, she stood on the precipice of emotional reckoning, heart racing as she faced the choice that could change everything. The surroundings seemed to pulse in time with Jenna's frenzied heartbeat. Each whisper around her felt like a tangible pressure, tightening around her throat. She looked at Derek, whose brow furrowed with concern. It might have been easy to dismiss the gossip as mere noise, but when the concerned looks of friends turned into pitying glances from strangers, doubt in herself clouded her mind. "Let us get out of here," Derek said suddenly, his voice a low rumble that cut through the murmurs like a knife. He stood, reaching for her hand as if to pull her from the venomous stares that clung to her skin. Jenna hesitated, fear and intuition clashing within her. What if this was the moment where everything fell apart? But the warmth of his hand wrapped around hers ignited a flicker of bravery. Maybe it was time to face the chaos together. They slipped outside into the brisk evening air, the weight of the cafe's judgment replaced by the sweet scent of late summer blooms. Jenna took a deep breath, determined to silence the voices echoing in her mind. "I'm sorry about all of that," she finally managed, her voice shaking. "It's just I've never done anything like this before." Derek paused, searching her eyes. "What do you mean?" he asked gently. Her chest felt tight. "I thought I was just toying with fate for $20. I didn't expect it to turn into whatever this is." She gestured vaguely between them, the the tension palpable even in the distance from the cafe. Then let us redefine what it is, he said, his gaze steady and sincere. I was intrigued by you from the start. You have this light, it's real. Jenna felt her heart flutter with hope and terror all at once. Derek's kindness pierced through her walls, but memories of her life, the receipts piling up. Her parents' struggles clawed at her insides. What did she really deserve? Do you really mean that? She whispered, unable to hold on to the facade any longer. In a world full of pretense, you've shown me something genuine. Don't let anyone take that away from you, he replied. Tears pricked at Jenna's eyes. She was terrified of defying what everyone believed of her, yet even more afraid of losing this connection. But what if we can't make it work? What if I'm just this girl from a small town? Derek took a step closer, lowering his voice. That's not what matters to me. It's who you are at your core. Let us explore this together regardless of what anyone else thinks. Before Jenna could respond, a familiar voice pierced the moment. It was Marie, her eyes wide with a mix of excitement and apprehension. Behind her trailed a few other friends, and Jenna's heart sank. There you are. I was looking for you. Did you? Maria's gaze darted back and forth between Jenna and Derek, realization dawning. Jenna took a deep breath, her voice trembling. Yes, I did sabotage the date, but I think I might actually want this. Gasps swept through the small crowd. Marie's mouth fell open, while Derek blinked in surprise, clearly expecting something different. This isn't some game, Jenna pressed on, her heart pounding. I care about him. I want to see where this goes, no matter the judgment. Maria's expression shifted from shock to something more serious. But Jenna, what about our plan? You're risking everything for a guy who may not understand what you're dealing with. Jenna's pulse raced again, but a flicker of determination churned in her stomach. I'm not afraid of risking it. I'm afraid of losing the chance to love someone who sees me for who I am, and not just who I was told to be. The air charged with tension as all eyes settled on her, waiting for Derek's response. Would he side with her or retreat into the world where they were just a fleeting moment? In that sweet, heavy pause, Jenna realized she finally had to choose for herself. As silence enveloped them, her heart beat in rhythmic anticipation. Derek inhaled deeply, his face settling into a thoughtful expression. Jenna couldn't shake the feeling that this was merely the beginning, a pivotal moment that would either break or bind their fates together. And then, just as the first gusts of change began to swirl, Marie leaned in with a mischievous grin. Before this spirals further, what if we all took a shake on it? Jenna's moving picture of dreams versus Derek's safe world. Who's game? Nervous laughter erupted, but Jenna's heart raced. Would they really take the plunge together? Jenna turned to Derek, who watched her, a slight smile forming at the edges of his mouth, inviting her into the unknown. What was she really ready to risk in the name of love? Jenna felt the heat of the crowd around her, a blend of anticipation and doubt swirling in the air. The nervous energy was almost tangible. Maria's suggestion hung like a cloud of glittering possibility and chaos. Would they really challenge each other to a game of dreams and safe choices? Derek's eyes danced with intrigue. A shake, huh? What's the catch? He leaned in, clearly curious but still assessing the mood. Marie, emboldened by the excitement, quickly outlined the rules. How about this? We each share one dream and one fear. The winner gets to decide the next adventure for this little group. Adventure? Jenna echoed, her heart racing. She loved the idea, but the weight of her vulnerability pressed down on her. What if she revealed too much? Let us do it, Derek encouraged, his expression bright with enthusiasm. The room echoed with murmurs of agreement. Jenna stole a quick glance at him. She could see the light in his eyes. Maybe this was the moment to embrace the leap. She took a deep breath and spoke up. "Okay, I'll start. My dream is to travel across the country in a van, seeing the national parks. My fear? That I'll never be able to leave this small town, and that it'll always feel like a cage." A ripple of nods spread through the group. A part of her felt exposed, but the other felt relieved. Jenna was done with half measures. Marie jumped in next, her excitement palpable. "I dream of opening my own bakery, but I'm scared of failing and letting my parents down." Her voice cracked a bit at the last part, showing the weight of pressure she carried just beneath her bubbly exterior. The game unfolded, revealing buried hopes and hidden fears. Derek shared a dream of living authentically, of leaving a mark through his work. His fear. Never living up to the potential everyone saw in him. The authenticity with which he spoke, the urgency in his voice, sent chills racing up Jenna's spine. As it came down to it, everyone glanced at Derek, urging him to keep the ball rolling. He turned to Jenna, a playful smirk on his lips. Okay, Jenna's got the spark tonight. Let me offer a challenge. How about we all join in a road trip to a national park this weekend? A wave of excitement surged, mixed with disbelief. They had shared dreams, but this was real. But Jenna struggled to form coherent thoughts. I mean, should we even consider that? Derek's eyes twinkled. Why not? We're already sharing everything else. Let us embrace the chaos. Besides, what do we have to lose? The tension hung heavy again. A part of Jenna screamed for caution. The other cried out for adventure. This was the kind of spontaneous moment she secretly craved but never thought she could grab. Marie chimed in, count me in. It'll be a blast. The others nodded eagerly. Excitement permeating the group. They were surrendering to the risk, choosing to embrace the possibility instead of the fear. Jenna felt a stir inside her. Was she really willing to set aside everything she'd ever known for a single weekend of adventure? But then, looking at Derek, she felt a rush of exhilaration. He saw her. He believed in more than the small town and all its constraints. I'm in, Jenna finally declared, voice resolute, the words escaping like a release. Each breath deepened her conviction. Maybe this wasn't just a spontaneous getaway. Maybe this was a step towards something even grander. The group erupted in cheers, laughter echoing through the air like a melody of newfound hope and friendship. But as excitement swirled, Jenna couldn't help but question the reality of it all. Was she ready for the whirlwind of emotions waiting ahead? And was Derek genuine in his intentions, or was she setting herself up for disappointment? Those thoughts pressed against her mind, heavy and relentless. Just as she was savoring the thrill of her choice, a shadow flickered in her chest. What was she really getting herself into? And what if everything fell apart the moment she let go of her walls? And as that doubt hovered like a ghost, Derek turned to her, his gaze intense. Does this mean we'll no longer let fear define our choices? With her heart pounding, Jenna realized that this weekend would be more than just a road trip. It was the open road beckoning her toward love, risk, and perhaps countless unanswered questions about who she could truly become. The path ahead was uncertain, but one thing was clear. It was time to move forward, even if it meant embracing the chaos. Could she truly face whatever waited just beyond the horizon? The drive had the air of a small-scale adventure, each bump in the road translating to a surge of excitement. Jenna settled into the back seat with Marie, while Derek took the wheel, his hand steady on the steering column, his foot sending them flying down the highway like an arrow. The wind tugged at her hair through the cracked window, and Jenna felt that spark of freedom flaring within her. They sped past fields painted in gold, the sunset drenching everything in a fiery glow. Maria's laughter broke the small talk, bouncing off the windows like music. I can't believe we're really doing this. Next stop, an epic national park. Jenna's heart raced, and for a moment, the weight of her fears receded. It felt good to be part of something bigger than herself. She stole a glance at Derek, who caught her eye in the rearview mirror. His grin was contagious, stretching wide enough to light the whole street. Keep your eyes on the road, Marie teased playfully, shoving Derek's shoulder as he chuckled, causing the vehicle to swerve slightly. Sorry, Derek said, feigning panic and adjusting the steering. The moment echoed with a sense of camaraderie. The familiarity of their laughter filled the car, gluing them together in that joyful bubble. But as they drove deeper into the heart of the wilderness, Jenna's doubts murmured in the back of her mind. Was this really a step towards freedom? Or just a temporary escape? What if, after all this, she still felt trapped? What if Derek was just an illusion, and the vastness outside couldn't change her internal landscape? Marie must have sensed Jenna's sudden shift. Hey, everything okay back there? You've gone quiet. Jenna forced a smile, trying to shake off the creeping doubt. Yeah, just thinking about what's ahead. Derek chimed in, his voice smooth like honey. Just think about the adventure, Jenna. What if there's a beautiful view waiting for us? Or maybe a hidden waterfall? His enthusiasm wrapped around her like a warm blanket, making her heart flutter again. Right. There's got to be some incredible spots. It's about more than just the destination, Marie added, her eyes sparkling. Well, let us make a deal, Derek continued. For every fear we let go of during this trip, we'll find something amazing to replace it. A form of trading, if you will. Jenna laughed lightly, and the idea momentarily dispelled her anxiety. Okay, but you have to promise to not ditch us for a hike up some mountain. I'll stick to being the tour guide. I promise, he replied with a feigned seriousness. And if I do, I'll bring back stories that blow your mind. The laughter rolled in waves, washing over Jenna and momentarily elevating her spirits. But as the sun dipped below the horizon, shadows crept back into her thoughts. What did it even mean to embrace chaos? Hadn't she been doing that already by making this choice? Confidence mingled with fear, and she wrestled with the very heart of her journey. If she took a leap, what might she lose along the way? Lost in her dilemma, she felt someone touch her hand the moment stirred her. It was just Derek, his fingers brushing against hers for an instant, sparking electricity that caught her off guard. Don't let fear choose for you, he murmured softly, his eyes fixed on the road ahead. The words shot through her, igniting something deep within, and she dreaded how easily they connected. I know, she finally replied, her voice barely above a whisper. But it's hard. As their laughter faded into the distance, it was clear she was on the brink of something monumental. And as the car's headlights pierced the darkness, she felt the pulse of something new coursing through her veins. But just as they approached the park's entrance, the mood shifted. A distant rumble rolled overhead, ominous clouds gathering like a dark veil against the starlit sky. Jenna felt a tightening in her chest. Could this trip be the turning point she hoped for? Or was it a prelude to a storm brewing in her own heart? As the first drops of rain began to patter on the windshield, Jenna took a deep breath. Something awaited them at the next bend, and she couldn't shake the feeling that the adventure had only just begun. Was she strong enough to ride the waves of fear and possibility, ready to leap into the unknown? The rain began to tap rhythmically against the windshield, its sound a haunting melody that echoed in the cabin. Jenna felt a mix of exhilaration and apprehension. The droplets transformed the world outside into a watercolor blurriness, softening the edges of her worries, making it hard to tell where the road ended and the trees began. Is this rain serious or just a tease? Marie asked, her voice crackling with playful uncertainty. We're totally fine, Derek declared. A little rain can't stop us. The real adventure is just around the corner. His confidence breathed life into the moment. But as the wipers brushed away raindrops, Jenna could feel a weight settling on her chest. The intensity of the storm outside matched the turbulence inside. She left behind her old life, hoping for clarity but worried that chaos was waiting instead. Everything felt delicate, like a bubble ready to burst. Are you sure this park doesn't have a back entrance? Marie joked, breaking the tension as she leaned forward, peering out the window. We can sneak in like ninjas. I think we might just wet ourselves instead, Jenna said, forcing a chuckle, though her heart wasn't in it. Just as she spoke, a flash of lightning lit up the sky, illuminating the trees in an eerie glow. Okay, maybe we'll park and wait it out, Derek suggested, eyeing the clouds. We don't want to end up hiking in a thunderstorm. Good call, Jenna said, relieved. They pulled into a small visitor center, and the three of them hopped out, laughing as they hurried inside. The warmth enveloped them, contrasting with the cold, damp air outside. Inside it felt like a sanctuary, far removed from the storm's chaos. They waited, sipping hot cocoa from the small cafe. Jenna watched the rain create rivers outside, each droplet racing to join with others as if it had a purpose. Even the rain can make things beautiful, she mused, more to herself than anyone else. Marie reached over and touched her arm. Jenna, look at us. We're on an adventure. Rain or shine, we're doing this together. Derek nodded. Exactly. No storm can take this moment away from us. His eyes shone with an intensity that made her heart race again. As the rain began to taper off, Jenna felt the weight lightening, just as a hint of sunshine peeked through the clouds. So ready for some trails? Only if you're leading the way, Derek said, a playful challenge glimmering in his smile. Jenna smirked, the thrill of the unknown returning. All right then. Follow me. Outside, the world had transformed. The raindrops clung to leaves sparkling like diamonds. The crisp air felt fresh, filled with the promise of a renewal that dangled just out of reach. Together they trekked along the wet path, slipping and laughing and letting the beauty of nature wash over them. Each step felt like shedding a layer of her fear, allowing her to embrace this spontaneous adventure. Jenna kept a steady pace, navigating the twists and turns as Marie and Derek followed. She could feel them drawing closer, the chemistry of their shared excitement igniting a flame within her. But as they rounded a curve, the trail opened up to a breathtaking clearing that took her breath away. Water cascaded in a distant waterfall, sunlight filtering through a halo of mist. The view was pristine, but it wasn't the sight that made her heart race, it was the feeling of connection to this moment. The three of them united in wonder. "Look at that!" Marie squealed, rushing ahead. Derek followed at a more measured pace, clearly enthralled by the beauty unfolding before them. Jenna lingered for a second, caught up in the rush of emotion. She realized it wasn't just the landscape. It was the potential for something more, a budding friendship, a spark of romance. The world felt alive, as did she, dancing on the delicate line between exhilaration and anxiety. But as they approached the waterfall, a sudden loud crack echoed from the sky, a thunderclap, foreboding and fierce. A moment later, the skies opened up in a torrential downpour, soaking them instantly. In the chaos, Jenna's breath quickened, not out of fear but raw, electric anticipation. As they raced for cover, Jenna's heart thrummed steadily, an echo of possibility intertwining with uncertainty. Was this storm a sign of trials ahead? Or was it simply part of the adventure that would change everything? Caught in the rush of the moment, she couldn't help but wonder. What lay ahead for them? Hidden in the lush embrace of the wilderness? The downpour drummed on the leaves above them, creating a symphony of sound that was both chaotic and strangely beautiful, drowning out Jenna's racing thoughts. With heart pounding, she sprinted behind a thick oak tree, actually feeling the rush of adrenaline surge through her. Marie and Derek joined her, laughter bubbling from them as they shook off the soaking rain like dogs emerging from a swim. "Nice cover, huh?" Marie puffed, her hair plastered to her face. Jenna couldn't help but laugh back. "Dramatic, to say the least." Derek grinned, his eyes twinkling despite the downpour. "We're officially drenched. But if this isn't adventure, I don't know what is." Gazing into Derek's wet, mischievous expression, something shifted inside Jenna. The laughter took on a different quality, a deeper connection forming under the guise of shared laughter and rain-soaked fun. "'Kay, so what now?" Marie asked, lifting her arms dramatically to the sky as water dripped off her clothes. "Should we become storm chasers? Or just embrace the wild and go for it?" Derek suggested, glancing at the waterfall, which was now a faint roar in the background, an invitation daring them to explore. After a moment of hesitation, Jenna felt that same electric anticipation rushing back, urging her forward. "Let us go. We can't let a little rain stop our adventure." She took a step out from the tree's cover. "Jenna, wait!" Marie called, but it was too late. Jenna found herself wading through mud and puddles, laughter spilling from her as she splashed toward the waterfall. Derek and Marie followed, their shouts of surprise trailing behind them as they approached the waterfall. The mist enveloped them, offering a momentary respite from the rain. The water cascaded over the rocks, refracting light into a million rainbow glimmers. Jenna stood in awe, the fresh scent of nature filling her lungs. This was magic, purely unfiltered magic. While Jenna breathed, her eyes wide as she took in the view. The panorama ahead felt limitless. "Jenna, check it out." Derek's voice broke through her reverie. He had ventured close to the edge of the waterfall, balancing on the slippery rocks. "We can get closer. Be careful," Marie shouted as she grabbed Jenna's arm. But Jenna couldn't take her eyes away from Derek, his figure a stark silhouette against the shimmering curtain of water. "Come on," he urged, motioning them to join him. There was a thrill in his challenge. She felt the pull like gravity itself urging her closer, yet a flicker of fear tugged at her. What if this moment was just a fleeting high that vanished like the rain on her skin? But as she looked at Derek, the way his eyes sparkled with adrenaline, she wanted that rush. She wanted to step beyond her fears. "Okay, let us do it." They carefully made their way to Derek's side, the rocks slick beneath their feet. With every step, Jenna felt a mixture of exhilaration and terror. Standing on that precipice, they were on the edge of something deep and unpredictable. "On three," Derek said, as the sound of the water roaring grew louder. "1, 2, 3. And with that, they leaped toward the waterfall's embrace. The world blurred, the sensation of falling terrifying yet exhilarating. It felt like launching into the unknown, where anything could happen. When they reached the bottom, soaked to the bone and breathless with laughter, Jenna knew things had shifted. They had crossed an invisible barrier together, and now the connection between them had deepened into uncharted territory. Did we really just do that? Marie gasped, her eyes wide with disbelief. We did. Jenna laughed, hardly believing it herself, her heart racing anew with the idea of what this adventure could mean. But before she could explore that feeling further, something unexpected caught her eye. Just beyond the waterfall, concealed by a tangle of vines, a hidden path twisted into the woods, beckoning with mystery. What is down there? She wondered aloud, a mixture of curiosity and exhilaration igniting within her as they turned to look. The adventure they had been pursuing suddenly felt much larger beneath the surface of the wild. What secrets lay at the end of that path, and what could it mean for her and Derek? Jenna stood on the edge of the waterfall's mist, her heart still racing. The hidden path was a siren's call, inviting her into the depths of the woods. The sound of rushing water faded into the background, replaced by the soft rustle of leaves mingling with droplets falling from nearby branches. It felt daring, almost intimate, as if this unexplored route was calling only for her. Are you seeing this? She breathed, glancing from Marie to Derek. Their expressions mirrored her own curiosity intertwined with thrill. Marie edged closer, peering through the tangle of vines. What if it's dangerous? We could get lost. But the nervous spark dancing in Jenna's chest drowned out Maria's caution. Or we could find something amazing, she countered, her voice bursting with enthusiasm. Why not? We've already jumped into a waterfall. Derek chuckled, eyes gleaming with mischief. Let us be honest, we're not going back now. Not after that leap. With a rush of determination, Jenna stepped onto the narrow path, grabbing hold of the vines to pull them apart. The others followed, their laughter a gentle echo as they slipped into the unknown. The woods were alive with sounds, birds chirping high above and the soft crunching of leaves beneath their feet. Each step held its own magic. Every twist in the path made Jenna's heart thump louder. Look, Derek pointed ahead, and Jenna's breath caught. A small clearing opened up, bathed in dappled sunlight filtering through branches. In the center stood a large ancient tree, its gnarled roots sprawling like fingers reaching into the earth. While the word escaped Jenna's lips almost reverently, this place was breathtaking. Let us go check it out, Marie suggested, energized by the serene beauty. Approaching the tree, Jenna ran her fingers over the rough bark. It felt warm, alive with stories untold. Suddenly, she had a vision of all the whispers this tree had heard, the laughter and tears of those who had stood in its shade over the years. Do you think anyone else knows about this place? She wondered aloud. Probably not, Derek said, looking around as if seeking any signs of others. Feels like our own little secret. Jenna smiled at him, their eyes locking for a brief moment that sent an electric thrill through her. She felt something unspoken pass between them, an acknowledgement of their shared adventure, a bond growing stronger with each new experience. But then, a hushed silence fell over the clearing. A chill prickled at her skin as the air shifted. The wind picked up, swirling through the trees, whispering secrets. Did you guys feel that? Marie asked, glancing around uneasily. Suddenly, a distant sound broke through the tranquility. It was a low rhythmic pounding. Jenna strained her ears, her heart racing again, though not from excitement this time. What is that? Let us go see, Derek urged, his adventurous spirit sparking to life again. They followed the sound deeper into the woods, the air thick with tension and the unknown. With every step, Jenna felt the weight of anticipation on her shoulders. Her eyes scanned the shadows, searching for what lay ahead. Then they emerged into a small clearing, and there stood an old, dilapidated cabin, its silhouette sharp against the mountain backdrop. The loud pounding echoed again, now unmistakably coming from inside. It was like a heartbeat, a living pulse that thudded in time with Jenna's growing anxiety. What's going on in there? She whispered, her heart pounding louder than the noise. Derek stepped forward, curiosity brimming in his gaze. Let us check it out. Before Jenna could protest, he pushed open the creaking door, which groaned in protest, revealing darkness within. Shadows danced kaleidoscopically as the dim light from outside filtered in, And then the pounding stopped and a tense silence enveloped them, the world foreign and electric. What now? Jenna breathed, her pulse racing with a mix of fear and curiosity. And just then the door slammed shut behind them. The sudden thud of the door sent a jolt of panic through Jenna. She spun towards it, her heart racing as darkness wrapped around them like a thick blanket. Guys, this isn't funny, she whispered, her voice barely carrying above the silence. Relax, Derek said, his voice steady despite the tension. It's just a door. Maybe it was just the wind. Marie stepped aside, her eyes wide. But what about that pounding? Something else. Before she could finish, the silence shattered again. The rhythmic pounding resumed, louder this time, echoing off the thin wooden walls. Felt alive. Jenna's breath caught in her throat. The noise seemed to be coming from below. Should we light our phones? Derek suggested, looking at his friends. He reached for his pocket, pulling out his device and illuminating the space. The dim light revealed dust and disarray, a history hidden beneath layers of neglect. Why was this place abandoned? Jenna wondered aloud, taking a shaky step forward. Maybe it wasn't he always, Derek replied, glancing around. Look at those pictures on the wall. Hesitant, Jenna followed his gaze. Faded photographs hung crookedly, capturing moments from a past now lost. A family smiling, children laughing. And then Jenna's heart dropped at the last image, a group gathered around a tree. The same ancient tree they had just encountered outside. That was taken here, she murmured, feeling a strange connection to the place. The pounding shifted to a desperate series of knocks. Without thinking, Jenna moved toward the corner where the sound seemed loudest. What is hidden down there? A trapdoor lay beneath a tattered rug, just slightly ajar, almost as if it had waited for them. Adrenaline coursed through her. She could almost feel the ties to the family in the photographs pulling her closer. Should we open it? Jenna looked at Derek and Marie, their faces clouded with uncertainty. What if it's dangerous? Marie hesitated, but her eyes sparkled with curiosity. We came this far, Derek encouraged, looking back at the door they'd just come through. We can't leave without knowing. She nodded, feeling the weight of the moment. Gulping down fear, Jenna crouched, pulling the door open. A set of creaking wooden steps spiraled downward into darkness. There was nothing but the promise of mystery beneath. Is anyone going first? Derek asked, his bravado wavering. I will, Jenna declared, surprising herself with her boldness. She made her way down the creaking stairs, the light from her phone flickering against the damp walls. The air grew colder, each breath sharp against her skin. Reaching the bottom, Jenna swung the light around, illuminating another small room, thick with shadows but filled with oddities. Old furniture, a small bed draped in dusty sheets, and a table littered with documents she couldn't make out. Her heart thumped louder as she glanced back to see Derek and Marie slowly making their way down. What is this place? Marie's voice broke the spell, thin and thoughtful. The real question is what's hidden here. Jenna whispered, flipping through the scattered papers as she skimmed a few yellowed pages. A name caught her eye, Evelyn Harper. The name embroidered on a letter with delicate handwriting. Her name meant something, and the more Jenna read, the more she felt everything slip into focus. Jenna looked back at her friends, a spark of recognition lighting up inside her. We need to find out who she was and what happened here, but as they started to piece together the mystery, the ground above them shook slightly, sending a cascade of dust tumbling down. A loud crash echoed through the cabin, and the door slammed shut once more, sealing them in. What was that? Marie gasped, eyes wide as she exchanged glances with Derek. I don't know, Jenna replied, feeling that same electric thrill run through her. But we're not done yet. Could it be that each clue held the answer to their adventure? The pounding in her heart shifted from fear to determination as she looked down at the papers, knowing they were on the brink of something that could change everything. What secrets lay hidden in the darkness ahead? The air was thick with dust and an uneasy silence, broken only by their hurried breaths. Jenna's heart raced as she swallowed back the anxiety creeping up her throat. She could feel a strange pull toward the faded photographs scattered across the floor, tethering them to the past as though the walls themselves were whispering secrets just out of reach. Marie knelt beside the table, her fingers brushing against the yellowed papers. What if we find something important here? Something that explains what happened? She glanced up at Jenna, her eyes glinting with a mix of fear and hope. That's what I'm counting on, Jenna replied, finding her courage in the urgency of the moment. She picked up a document and squinted at the faded ink. A sudden realization washed over her. The letters formed names, dates that hinted at stories unspoken. "Look at this," she said, holding it out. "It's a diary entry." "Read it," Derek urged, leaning in, his curiosity piqued. With a steadying breath, Jenna read aloud, August 3, 1975. Today was the festival near the old oak tree. The children laughed and danced, while Evelyn prepared her famous pie. Each word rang out, illuminating shadows of a time long gone. The joy laced with a hint of nostalgia as she continued. The air crackled. There were mentions of love, laughter, and a family torn apart by unforeseen tragedy. Each page turned added weight to an unbearable sense of loss that seemed to add layers to the suffocating darkness surrounding them. Suddenly, another crash echoed from above, causing dust to rain down once again. They all jumped, eyes widening. "What if we're trapped here?" Marie whispered, her voice trembling. "No," Jenna said firmly, her resolve sharpening. "We need to uncover the truth. Whatever happened, it's tied to these people." To Evelyn, an electric energy coursed through her, igniting her determination to free them from the shackles of the past. "Okay, then let us search for more clues," Derek agreed, scanning the dim room. Everyone spread out. They fanned out, the flickering light of their phones casting dancing shadows across the peeling walls. Jenna moved to a dusty bookshelf, her fingers trailing along the spines of old books. One caught her attention. Without thinking, she pulled it free. It crumbled slightly in her hands, releasing the scent of aged paper and memories. Inside it, she discovered a hidden compartment. Heart pounding, she pried it open to reveal a small, ornate box. "Guys, come here," she called out, excitement bubbling in her chest. Derek and Marie rushed over. With trembling fingers, Jenna lifted the lid, revealing a collection of photographs, more than the ones on the wall. They were candid moments of the family, laughter captured in time. "Look at those smiles," Marie observed, emotions brimming in her voice. "It's like they're frozen in happiness." Jenna's eyes caught one photo in particular. A young girl held a bouquet of wildflowers, flowers that were just starting to wilt, yet the joy on her face seemed alive. "This must be Evelyn," Jenna said softly, feeling a connection deeper than words could express. The box felt heavy with history, as though they suddenly held the key to understanding the essence of Evelyn's life. Just then the floor trembled beneath them again. But this time it wasn't fear that coursed through Jenna. It was an exhilarating urge to solve the puzzle, to honor the lives intertwined in that abandoned home. And then, without any warning, the wall behind them creaked ominously. Jenna's heart skipped a beat, and she turned just as a section of the wall shifted slightly, revealing a dark passageway that had been hidden. "What if something is down there?" Marie said, echoing Jenna's thoughts but with a quiver of trepidation. "We have to find out," Jenna replied, feeling an insatiable curiosity surge once again. The adventure was far from over, and somewhere in the darkness lay the answers they were desperate for. With a shared glance, they nodded and took a step toward that forbidden entry. What awaited them beyond the shadows? They would soon discover just how deep the mystery ran and whether uncovering it would lead them closer or away from the light. The passageway yawned before them, beckoning with a promise of mystery that urged Jenna onward. Clutching her phone tightly, Jenna led the way, her heart racing with anticipation and a slight tremor of fear. The walls closed around them, damp and cool, and for a moment, the air felt alive with every step echoing through the dark. Derek and Marie flanked her, the flickering light casting shadows that danced across the walls, illuminating fragments of something long hidden. "What if we find Evelyn?" Marie whispered, her eyes sparkling with a mix of excitement and apprehension. "I have a feeling she has been waiting for us," Jenna replied, her voice sounding resolute, a surprising strength bubbling up. The spirit of adventure coursed through her as they delved deeper into the unknown. As they ventured further, the tunnel began to widen. Strange remnants of another time emerged, old photographs stuck to the walls, much like those in the box above. There were happy faces, parties under the oak tree, a family that had once thrived here. "This place must have burst with life," Jenna mused, glancing at the faded images. "Like us," Derek added. He leaned closer to an aged photograph, his voice softening. "People will always have that joyful spirit, won't they?" Their camaraderie bolstered Jenna's heart, and she felt a fragile hope fluttering within her. But then the passage ended abruptly in a large underground chamber. Her breath caught at the sight before them. An ornate chest sat in the center, adorned with intricate carvings, like a treasure waiting to be unlocked. "Should we?" Marie breathed, shivers of both excitement and uncertainty weaving through her words. "Absolutely," Jenna nodded, stepping forward. As they approached, excitement mingled with the weight of expectation. She could sense Derek's gaze on her, an unfaltering support that warmed her heart. With a deep breath, Jenna crouched beside the chest. "Can you guys help me?" Together, they pulled at the chest's lid, which creaked open with the protest of long-closed secrets. Inside, dust motes danced in the light of their phones, revealing a collection of letters tied together with a faded ribbon. Jenna lifted them gently and began to read aloud, her voice trembling with each word. "Dearest Evelyn," she began. "I still remember the day we met under the old oak tree." The letters painted a picture of love, of dreams blossoming in the face of adversity, but it was also laced with sorrow, loss, heartache, and a family torn apart by tragedy. As Jenna read through the words, tears began to spill from her eyes. She felt the weight of Evelyn's struggles and the bond that tied their fates together. The overwhelming sense of connection surged within her, a shared experience of vulnerability and resilience. When she finished, silence enveloped the chamber. "This isn't just Evelyn's story. It's all of our stories," Derek said softly, his blue eyes glimmering with intensity. "You can feel it, can't you?" Marie added, her voice laced with emotion. "The power of their love, their dreams. They were real." Jenna's heart swelled with gratitude and purpose, fueled by the idea that they were uncovering more than just a forgotten history. They were breathing life back into it. "We have to honor her memory, to ensure none of this is forgotten," she said, resolution solidifying her voice. The words hung in the air, and Jenna felt something shift within her. The weight of her old life, of doubts and fears, began to lift as if they had laid a foundation to build something new. There was joy, a shared adventure glimmering just ahead, and the thrill of love blossoming between her and Derek felt electric under the surface. "Let us tell the world together," Derek suggested, determination in his gaze. Let everyone know what Evelyn lived for." "Absolutely," Jenna agreed, a light laughter bursting forth as the weight of responsibility turned into excitement. "We'll share this adventure, and her legacy will be far from forgotten." As they headed back through the passage, the glow of their bond flaring stronger with every step, Jenna realized something monumental had shifted within her. That leap into the unknown wasn't just about facing fears. It was about finding herself and discovering love in the process that felt real and enduring. Stepping outside back into the sun-drenched world, the air felt fresh, electric with potential. "We did it," she whispered, turning to Derek. He grinned, the sunlight catching the warmth in his eyes. In that moment, Jenna knew their connection was just the beginning of a beautiful journey. "Ready for whatever comes next?" he asked, his voice steady as they stood together, hands brushing against each other, an invitation for more. The adventure awaited anew, a road stretching before them shimmering with promise. The world was wide, and she was ready to embrace every single moment, hand in hand with the person who saw her for who she was and who she could become. Love was waiting just on the horizon, and she was finally ready to welcome it. The sun blazed overhead as they drove away from the past and into an unknown future, Jenna's heart pounding with every mile. She glanced back at the woods and the old cabin, knowing they had unearthed a legacy that would forever bond them. Could there be a more beautiful adventure than this? And so, with laughter echoing in the car and futures brightening ahead, they embraced the journey they had forged together, an endless road where dreams flourished, and the delicate dance of love began. Before I end this story, let me ask you something incredibly important. You need to subscribe now to the channel, so you don't miss the next exclusive stories that will keep your heart racing. This is the moment to show your support, by leaving a like now to feed the algorithm and keep us going. Don't wait not even one more second to share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Your support means everything. And remember, your thoughts matter. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this ending. Let's keep the conversation alive.